Yo, yo. Got a question for you. Do you think that your behavior, your actions are restricted by the approval or by seeking the approval of other people? Do you think that caring what other people think of you, caring how others might judge you, has an effect on what you do, on the things you choose to do with your life, how you do those things, where you put your attention, how you feel, how much of a sense of confidence you have, and how much of a sense of limitation you have? Do you think that other people's approval makes a difference in your life? Well, it certainly has for me. I have been extremely limited through the majority, I would say, of my life, and of course still do to a degree today, as do 99.99478% of the entire world's population. We all, to some degree, care about what other people think of us, and we care to gain approval. A lot of this was instilled in us as we grew up as kids. We knew through trial and error and being children that certain behaviors led to good outcomes, happy parents, and being treated well. Maybe we'd get a stick of candy for behaving ourselves in church, for example. And so we'd begin to associate getting the approval of adults with good feelings. We associate and tie good feelings to getting approved by others, not being judged harshly or negatively by other people. And so this can go on into our adulthood, this sense of needing to ensure that the people around us are actually in harmony with us and don't want to and aren't critical of us, because if there's a criticalness to it, we get worried and we feel resistant and we hold back. If there's a chance, if there's a risk at play, so I'm a little bit out of breath here. If there is risk that we might be criticised, we tend to allow our behaviours to match that. Give me a moment. Thanks for being patient, guys. It's quite a steep little hill, that. So you get the point. We tend to be influenced and swayed, quite shockingly, by other people. We want to people please. We want to ensure that the people around us are happy, and it sounds like a good thing, right? It sounds like, if our intention and our motivations in life are to keep people around us happy and pleased and not judging us, then why is that a bad thing? Well, it's a bad thing because you know how you have been restricted all through your life. You have held back, you've been fearful to speak up, you've been afraid to raise your voice on a particular topic that meant a lot to you, but you couldn't say it because you were worried that someone else might take offence. We are not ourselves when we are trying to keep in the approval of other people. We are not ourselves 100% to the degree that we care about and are influenced by the opinions of other people. And if you think about it, there's a lot that comes into play here. Most of our fears, most of the things we tend to be scared about, are not the things themselves. Yes, you may get a little bit afraid when you walk to the edge of a cliff and you can kind of feel that physical chemical release around what it might feel like to fall off there. But most of us are scared and held back and limit ourselves and don't reach our fullest capacity because of this fear of being judged. So we're not fearful of the thing itself. We're not fearful of a phone call. We're not fearful of approaching somebody. We're fearful of the idea of someone thinking negatively of us And I wanted to just go into a couple of things that's really helped me, because we want to get through this. This is really the secret, is, you know, being human, we are so wrapped up in our own sense of personality and our own sense of self-worth, and we don't want to damage that self-worth, and we know that other people are a tremendous source of potentially lowering that self-worth. That's an illusion. So we're very tied up into, you know, the judgments of other people, because we think that there is a link. As I said, this is something that we develop in our youths. We think there is a connection between judgment and self-worth, because if we feel good, then we think that that's about us, right? We think that if someone rewards us and we feel good about it, it's because their judgment has an impact, their support has an impact on our well-being, on our self-worth. So what's really helped me, and this is something that takes practice and takes continual reminding, because we want to move in the direction of being at ease around the judgments of others, not taking them too seriously. Because if we can really not be affected by perceived judgment, what opens up for you? So much is going to open up for you if you were to be able to walk through this earth without always thinking about how you might be affected and how other people might have an effect on you, and how what you say might cause offense, and in causing offense that will bring judgment on you, which you don't want to do. If you were free of all that, imagine what your life would look like. If you were free of any fear of offending anyone, of rocking the boat, of stepping out of your limits and potentially influencing other people, which we're so scared about. We don't want to kind of encroach on other people. This is why no one reaches out to anyone. This is why no one does any effective self-promotion. It's because we're so concerned that we're going to encroach on other people, and in doing so trigger their judgment of us. What if we were without those fears? We would be able to step out there and ask for what we want, get what we want, be assertive. We'd be able to speak our mind, speak our truth without fear of retaliation and worry. We'd be able to approach people for dates and not feel, you know, jelly-like anxiety. So much would open up to us. So I want to quickly go into the things that have helped me. A couple of things, because there's a lot to it. There are many variables, but really the key things for me are, and again, this is how to stop fearing judgment from other people, to live free without needing to gain people's approval. How to do that? One is to understand that if and when someone does indeed judge us, which they will do, people will inevitably judge, people will inevitably share harsh words about you, especially if you're leaning out and you're rocking the boat a little bit, which is good. People will inevitably criticize. You will inevitably come up against perceived rejection. Now, what we've got to understand in those moments is that when someone does indeed judge harshly sometimes you, and it looks as though they're judging you, you've got to get it into your mind that they are projecting their own insecurities on you. You said something, triggered an emotion in them because it triggered an insecurity about themselves. They know that there's something that they don't like about themselves, whether it's an illusion or not, whatever. It's in their own minds. And so feeling the pain of that triggering in their hearts, because they know that they are not whole, they want to retaliate. And they do it on you. They'll judge you because you triggered them. You triggered a little hit, a little ping in their throat, in their hearts, about who they were. Because if they truly loved themselves, if these people were truly free and truly limitless, like you are slowly becoming, and they didn't have all these hang-ups and they didn't have insecurities and they were at peace with themselves, if they were truly at peace, they would have absolutely no need to judge somebody else. They would have absolutely no need, no incentive to project their own insecurities onto you and judge them, because they need to judge in order to lift themselves up. Perceived lower self-worth, it's all an illusion again, guys. If you have a perceived lower self-worth and you don't get it, you're going to go out of your way to judge other people so that you can feel better about yourself, which is a very bad strategy because you're going to lose friends that way. So that's one thing, is to understand that these people have their own problems, their own insecurities. If they're judging you, it's all in their heads. It's an indication that they think that they are inferior to you in that sense, always. And so really seeing that really helps. It's like, well, if it's just about them, if they're showing themselves for the insecurities that they have in that moment, then I'm not so fussed anymore actually about whether people judge me or not, because it's not about me. It's never about me. If I'm bringing judgment into my life, it's a good thing, because it means that I'm stepping outside my boundaries. You know, I'm releasing the leash hold that society has on me, and that's a good thing. If you're getting judged, if you're getting hated on, if you're getting criticisms in the comments, if you're getting dislikes on your YouTube videos, hint hint, you are doing the right things, because you aren't in your little box. You aren't in your little good boy box anymore. You've stepped out, and that's only good. So you want to see judgment for the reality that it is. It is people's insecurities being reflected on you. So that's their problem, nothing to do with you. And it's also a sign that you're doing the right thing. You're stepping out, you're pushing your potential, you're stretching, you're inviting criticism, and you're showing yourself to be the warrior that you really are, because you can handle it. So that's kind of 2 in 1. The other thing, and I'm about to forget it, the other thing that's been really helpful for me, and we kind of touched on it before, just to close off, is this idea that was developed in our youth, that we think that someone's rejection of us, and again, this is a perceived thing, we think they're rejecting us, they're actually rejecting themselves. Someone's rejection of us, someone's judgment of us, someone's criticism of us. So say, you know, you don't want to get on stage because you're worried that someone in the audience is going to think you're dull. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Judgment on you. We think that judgment from someone else has a legitimate impact on our self-esteem. We think, and this is through years and years, through being bullied at school and feeling the realness of these emotions and thinking that they're real, we equate judgment with lowered self-esteem, and we worry, oh, because, you know, I spent all my youth getting my self-esteem lowered. I can't afford to have my self-esteem lowered anymore. And so we don't do stuff to rock the boat. We don't invite judgment. We stay good boys. We don't say the wrong things. We're extra nice, extra smiley. Okay, great, good for you, but you're not going to get very far with that. You're going to stay in your little box. And I'm probably triggering some of you by saying this. But what's really helpful here, and the salvation at the end of the tunnel here, guys, is that there is no correlation, there is no link, there is no legitimate connection between judgment and self-esteem, because self-esteem is an illusion that you've made up in your own mind. All there is you, a sack of meat with a beating heart in it, and your own thoughts that help you plan stuff, fantastic, but they can be taken out of their use. And we can make thoughts about us. We can create these images of our own personalities in our heads that don't help us. And we think we have this thing called self-esteem, this vision of who we are, a story we tell about ourselves, and it's all nonsense. It's all accrued junk over the years that we've formulated into this clever little spinely little bundle of thoughts that we think is a thing. We think it's us. We have this idea of who we are, but we're nothing. We're nothing and we're everything at the same time. So you can't have someone possibly lower your self-esteem if self-esteem is an illusion that you've created. Empowering. Hope that helps, guys. Do subscribe to this channel if you indeed enjoyed this. And do smash that like button if it made sense to you. Share in the comments what else you might like to hear from me. If you've got any other struggles and things in life, happy to address those. And signing out from foggy Poland. Peace out, guys.